I've long had a love of luxury cruise liners. Back in the 1970s, one of the highlights of Sunday afternoons on ITV was The Love Boat, in which the jovial crew welcomed new passengers each week for a heady mix of comedy and drama. And for the past decade, I've been living my own Love Boat dream, travelling the world on assorted princess ships. My latest, the Sky Princess, was a joy, not least because I managed to sail out of Southampton, saving a fortune on airfares and hassle, getting to some overseas port, and check-in could not have been easier. After backdrop, we sailed through the usual routine of getting our medallions, handy coin-sized gizmos which act as room keys and currency. Once through X-ray, we were on board waiting for the sail-away party. Even on a relatively sunny day in Southampton, the party took place indoors in the dazzling atrium where we would spend a chunk of the next 2 weeks trying to find anywhere to sit, usually after obtaining specialty coffees and outstanding tuna sandwiches from International Cafe. With more than 3,000 passengers on board during the Easter holidays, many of us Brits, it was rare to feel like Blighty had the dominating presence on a cruise liner, but here we are. I had to feel for some US tourists trying to answer trivia questions about EastEnders when they'd never seen the show, and the trivia quizzes, as ever, became a favourite pastime. Okay, some could have done with a little work on the research department. Example, Tom Hanks picked up an Oscar for what film in 1994? The air answer, Forrest Gump. The actual answer, Philadelphia. It hardly mattered. A good time was had by all, especially us, as we managed to win at least 3 other quizzes. And the fake champers, what prize wasn't too bad, if you added enough orange juice. The entertainment staff were excellent, especially Matt Thompson, who may rank as my favourite cruise director. Part stand-up comedian, part master of ceremonies, and flappable, which is no easy task when you have to keep so many holidaymakers happy. And it was a joy telling him daily gags, either face-to-face or via the slips of paper you can post, which may end up in daily series The Wake Show, like one of those daytime TV shows, only set around the ship and with better jokes. The food was mostly excellent, whether fine dining every night or guiltily scoffing hot dogs. Admittedly, service to the table from the salty dog was terrible, as a friend discovered when they tried to get their lunch delivered a few feet away via the onboard app. It took around an hour, and after repeated requests, so best to just queue up rather than put an order through online. The food, however, was insanely good, and, as ever, the ice creams were to die for. When it comes to port excursions, we opted for one princess-organised tour and assorted private tours, as well as the odd potter around a city. Some folks are terrified of using private companies for fear of not getting back to the ship in time, and though one got us back with half an hour to spare, the decision to drop us on the other side of the port meant we stepped back on board with a mere 5 minutes left. So always best to get dropped as close to the ship as possible. Anyway, here's some extracts from my onboard diary which gives you a flavour of the trip. Fabulous morning in Tenerife, but after the 8-mile walk yesterday, my body clearly wondering why it's moving so much. Left port around 9:30 p.m. for a journey that should take 80 minutes, so should be in our next dock any minute. Amazing food on this ship, so diet hard is the goal once back in Blighty. Maybe I should ask tonight's comedy hypnotist David Knight. Oh, and we dropped a point on the ABBA quiz. Hasta mañana. Who knew? The winner, apparently, who took it all. Day 6 or 7 on the Sky Princess and an epic tour of Gran Canaria, named after all the elderly yellow birds. Back on the ship by dinner time, then a fab Welsh Adele tribute and 80s night, which was a case of showing millennials how to party. Day 8 on the Canary Islands tour and another first, Lanzarote, which is a lot like the Azores, and Arrakis from Dune. The fact anything grows here is amazing, considering zero rainfall. Fabulous trips to one of the island's greatest artists' old haunts. Manrique created the greatest cactus garden you'll ever see, and a gorgeous tourist must-see hotspot in a lava tunnel. Back on board, sitcoms quiz, followed by a Queen quiz, then an epic show to finish before watching Artemis 2 do its flyby. Every day at 5 p.m, some repeat cruisers get to nibble cheese and quiches on the Sky Princess. It's very pleasant, not least because it's the one place on the ship not playing Funky Town by Lip Sync. Lisbon tomorrow. Lisbon, by the way, was phenomenal. Paolo, our private guide, ferried us around town all day in a gorgeous Mercedes people carrier. And thanks to Mrs. Crow contacting an American couple in advance, we got to share the cost of the trip. Like any cruise ship, there are pros and cons, and obsession with feedback is one pro that becomes a con, though you can understand it. All companies these days want to ensure they give the best service, and for the most part, Princess are superb. Our room was excellent, the facilities were great, and most of the staff were outstanding. I had long wanted to do the Southampton Canaries trip, and it did not disappoint. In fact, I'd quite happily do the whole thing again, which is testament to how enjoyable the experience was. Just on the proviso that Proud Mary and Funky Town isn't played every 10 minutes. Travel tips. Book your favourite ship restaurant in advance for the duration of the trip. You can always change it later. Some of the restaurants are available for breakfast and lunch, so don't forget them if you want to change your scenery. Great service and food, of course. Check the colour of the port and starboard cabins for a handy guide of which side of the ship your cabin is. If you're booking private tours, naturally tell them early when you want to need to be back on the ship. Yes, some travellers don't bother until late in the day, and obviously take a good stash of concealed euros for tips. Here's 3 companies who did an excellent job on our paid trips. They didn't cost the earth, and if you want to share costs with other travellers, post a message on Princess social media groups to see if anyone is interested. So Gran Canaria, that's skyrebels.com, sky-rebels.com. Madeira, that's shoreexcursionsgroup.com, shoreexcursionsgroup.com. And then Lisbon, if you ask for Paulo Sousa, Paulosousa, he's an excellent driver/guide, courtesy of santotoursportugal.com. That's Santo, S-A-N-T-O, Tours, Portugal, all one word, .com. santotoursportugal.com. Thanks for listening.